And when they told me I was positive, I remember literally it was like I lost any control of my body. I slid off the seat.
When the doctor first told me that I was HIV positive, I think a whole part of me was listening to her, but there was another part of me that was just gone.
I did so much research on HIV. I was so well educated on HIV the day I got the diagnosis, and it still just devastated me.
I shaved my hair off. I became as ugly as I possibly could so that nobody would be attracted to me and nobody would like me because I didn't like me.
I think negative guys out there need to know that the only difference between them and a positive person like me is a 15-minute roll in the sack.
I don't remember leaving the office, the doctor's office. I really did feel like I was having an out-of-body experience. I felt like I was up on top and looking down on myself, and everything was in slow motion. Everything was just, it was surreal. It was like I was watching something and it wasn't really happening to me. Being a newly diagnosed HIV positive person is hideous. It's like being on some kind of crazy ride where the bottom of your world just drops out. I thought HIV was AIDS. I didn't know it was the HIV virus that causes AIDS, and my ignorance was what pushed me over the edge, and I was convinced that I was going to die. I was thinking, how can I end this?
I wasn't surprised by my diagnosis because I had been having the sort of sex that puts one at risk of contracting HIV. I didn't expect to get it. I was, making calculated risks. I was disclosing my status and asking my partners of their status before we had sex. I wasn't on like a path of self-destructive behaviour where I didn't care if I became positive. I was concerned about becoming positive.
I decided to speak with the person I had unsafe sex with. It was consuming me, and I had to talk to him. And he sort of glazed over, and he said, "I thought you knew." Thought I knew what? And he said, "I've been positive for 5 years." And he just burst into tears. I don't hold any anger towards him. I made a very conscious decision that night to have unsafe sex. I became positive as a result of it, and I have to live with the decision that I made that night. His assumption was that I was positive, and my assumption was he was negative.
A wrong choice, a ridiculous choice, which everybody makes ridiculous choices. I slept with a person without a condom once. It is something that can happen to anybody, even though it was one chance in however many. It still happened, and I can't change it and I can't go back.
I think being made to feel ashamed of wanting love, and I really do believe that sex is just the search for love. Shame creates distance, distance creates loneliness, and when you're in these spaces, in these lonely spaces, that's when you're going to slip up. That's when you're going to jump in without thinking or without asking or without saying, is this the risk I'm prepared to take?
It is interesting when you talk to heterosexual people in general, why do you use condoms or why don't you use condoms? It's like, oh, well, I can't get pregnant, I'm on the pill, or it's something that other people get. It's a gay disease, that's all there is to it. It doesn't matter who you are. HIV does not discriminate. People discriminate, HIV does not discriminate.
Safe sex, in whichever way you choose to have it, is a shared responsibility, and that needs to be a conversation with who you're sleeping with. You can't assume someone's status by looking at them. And if you do, it's really dangerous territory that you're going into.
Make sure you use condoms all the time, every time. It's just not worth it.
Men and women and every single sexually active human being out there doesn't love condoms. They're a reality. We have to include them in our risk reduction strategies. We have to, always have them ready to go. And it's absolutely the individual's choice whether they proceed with or without condoms. be honest and open about the kinds of sex they're having, the kind of sex they want to have. If they've had a risky weekend, straight to the doctor, getting tests. They should know about PEP and they shouldn't be scared of PEP.
PEP stands for post-exposure prophylaxis. It's a 4-week course of HIV medication that may prevent you from acquiring a HIV infection after a high-risk exposure. Whether PEP works or not is really dependent on how early you're able to access it and how well you're able to tolerate the medication.
I wouldn't wish HIV on anybody. We all need to take the appropriate steps to prevent the transmission of HIV, whether we're positive or negative.
My advice to HIV negative men is that it is just as much up to you to stay negative as it is for positive people to contribute to safer sex in the community.
There's life after HIV. You can still have an amazing life after you've been diagnosed HIV positive.
It happened to me and it was crap, but it made me a better person and it made me a lot more appreciative of what I have, what I am and what I can do.
There should be no shame whatsoever in becoming HIV positive, and in fact you can be really proud of how you live with it.